Hi guys, welcome back to Miss Finance. Today we're going to have a look at my very favourite top 5 formulas within Excel. So this is very useful to you if you are currently studying towards your accounting qualification, or if you're working in finance and accounting, or within a job where you're using Excel a lot of the time. So we're going to keep this really simple and we're going to have a look at my very first favourite formula. And that is SUMIF and SUMIFS. Now, if you've never used this before, all you need to do is find formulas at the top ribbon here, go to Insert Function, and if it's not already there, if you go to All on this little drop down menu here and type in SUMIF and click on Go, you'll get SUMIF and SUMIFS. And I'll show you the difference between the two. So SUMIF is where you're just searching for one criterion and asking it to sum up those items that have that criteria. So for instance, if I want it to sum everything with the title of books. So my range is going to be this column here in B, and I'm going to fix that with F4. And then I'm going to ask it to sum up column C. And you'll see here that that's picked up everything with the title of books here. And you can add that up manually if you wish, just to check it. And you can see that that's 4153. Now I can add in a SUMIFS where I'm then saying, okay, well, I want it to only pick up those with the title of books if it's got a certain date, for example. So I'm going to use SUMIFS here. Okay, and you'll see here this looks slightly different. So down here in my criteria, I want it to look for books, and I want it to look down column B. I'm going to fix that. And my next criteria is that I want the date to be the 23rd of the 1st, 21 down here. I'm going to fix that as well. And the sum range is at the very start of this formula in this case, whereas it was at the back with the SUMIF. So I'm going to fix that again. I'm going to click OK, and you can see here that that now has only summed up this top one here, because that's the only one with the date of the 23rd of the 1st. So that's SUMIFS. So let's move on to the next one. So my second favourite formula of all time is the if function. So to find the if function, again, I'm just going to go to formulas with using this top ribbon, go into insert function, and then go to if. And it's there for me because I've used that recently. But again, if you just drop this little category down to all and then type in if, go to go, and it'll be right there at the top. So here, this is based on a logical test. So I can say if, for instance, column B contains the word book again, so equals, I'm going to ask it to look for books. And you'll notice here that I've got these two little speech brackets on either side, and that allows you to enter specific text when you're looking for criteria within a cell. So value if true, I want it to say yes, and value if false, let's say no instead of false. So if I drag this down here like this, you can see that that clearly has the word books in. So we've got 3 that say books and the rest say no. So that's really useful if you're just looking for one particular item within Excel. And you can even then go on to filter that, which I'll just show you very quickly as we're doing this. So if you highlight the text that you want to filter, go to data at the top and click on filter. You can then filter on all items that I've got yes, like that. And I'll just do that again very quickly. So if I unfilter that, select those items, click on filter, and then go down and click on either no if I want to, or yes. So again, that's very useful if you are working with large volumes of data. So let's move on to my next favourite formula. So my next favourite formula is something called trim, and it's something that I only came across after using Excel for about 5 years, and I really wish somebody had shown me this before that point, but they didn't, so I'm going to show you how to use that now. So you might have, in some situations, a lot of data that has got spaces afterwards. So say here you can see that there's a space after books 4. So when I do a SUMIF on this, so I ask it to pick up books 4 in this range here, you'll see that that comes up with 0, so it's not picking it up. Whereas if I know that it's got a space after, it's then picking it up. Now I might not know that the space is after if I'm dealing with a lot of data. So what I can do is I can do a formula called trim. So if I go into this cell and enter equals trim open brackets, and I select that cell and drag it down, that will then get rid of that additional space. So if I just copy that and paste special values over that data, and I do the same thing again now, so I go to SUMIF and then I type in books for in that range and sum that criteria, you'll find that it now picks it up. So that's also useful if you're using the VLOOKUP function, which I'll show you in a second. So let's move on to the VLOOKUP function. Now, the VLOOKUP function looks up data vertically, and the HLOOKUP function looks up data horizontally. But what it does is it brings through the first value. So whereas we knew before that SUMIF, again, let's just do that quickly. So under books, brings through 4153 because it's summing everything that has got 4153. But with a VLOOKUP function, I might only be looking at the first function available, so I might only want to return the first value that I find. So if I go to home and go to formulas and go to insert function, I've got VLOOKUP there, but again, if I drop this down to all and type in VLOOKUP and go to go, then all I need to do is select what I'm looking for, which is books in this case. In my table array, I want it to look between B and C, and I can fix that with F4. And I want it to return a second column. So I want it to return the data in column C. So I'm going to put 2. Range lookup, if you put false, it will match the data exactly. And if you put true, it will find the next closest match basically. So we want to put false in most situations. So there you can see that it's only picked up that 1250 because that's the first value with books in. So let's move on to the next formula. So my final favourite formula when working with Excel, and specifically if you're again in accounting and you're building a lot of reports for month end or for year end, or you're doing stats, or you're looking at data variances or budgeting, anything along those lines, is a function called round. And it's really, really simple. And I'll just take a look here. So imagine that this data here has got a lot of pennies, but when you're presenting that data, you don't want to show those pennies, you want to show it to the nearest thousand. Well, if you use this formula called round, you can pick it up in 2 ways. So you can either use this home formulas insert function, and then again use this all drop down and search for round. And there you can select the number that you want to pick up, and then you can select how rounded you want this. So you can see here that the number of digits to which you want to round, a negative round will produce that to the left of the decimal points and 0 to the nearest integer. So here, if I do 2 and drag that down, you'll see here that that has been rounded up to 1547. Now if I change this to a -1, watch what happens. So those now go up to the nearest 10. So you can see there that 1351 becomes 1350. The 1250 is just 1250, but the next one, 1252, rounds to 1250. Now if I put a 2 next to it, it will round to the nearest 100. And if I put a 3 next to it, you can see that it rounds to the nearest 1000. So that again can be quite useful if you're building reports, for example. So I hope you found this video useful. As always, do consider subscribing, and I shall see you on the next video.